Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wayward Magic Academy podcast. For those of you that are new to the space, super quick introduction. My name is Jen. I am a medium, a shadow work practitioner, energy worker, certified soul shift healer, and manifestation coach. I help people heal from their past so that they can consciously create a life full of magic and abundance. So I have been in super manifestation mode lately. I am teaching about manifestation inside Wayward Path Work and Abundance Reset and Mastery. So naturally, I'm talking about it a lot extra. There's some planetary alignments that are supporting this energy right now for me. And so I am just running full speed ahead. And I've talked about manifestation to so many different people today for so many different reasons. And so I thought I wanted to share some of the stuff that was coming up and give you guys some of the things that I have used to absolutely change my life. And so today's podcast, I want to talk about reality writing. I have used this process, and I will break it down for you here in a minute, but I have used reality writing to completely change my reality. And so for you to fully get the full impact of this, let's take it back about 7 years, even well before that. I didn't know anything about manifesting. I was in a very negative space in life for a lot of different reasons. I was carrying a lot of trauma. I had a lot of deservingness issues, a lot of abundance blocks, very limited thinking about money or abundance, very limited thinking about what was possible for me in my life. And I reached one of those pivotal moments where it's like, I'm going to wither away right now, or I really need to make a change. And so I started to go down this path of first kind of stumbled upon witchcraft. And that led me to manifestation, and manifestation led me to shadow work, and shadow work led me to mindset work. And before I knew it, I just had this entire toolbox to really use to completely change my life. And so fast forward 7 years later, I realized in talking to one of my magic squad members today about manifestation that everything I have in my life right now, a few years ago, was just a pipe dream. And even before that, something I never ever thought would be possible in my life. And so I'm going to tell you some of the things today, and it's not to brag. It is to show you that if somebody like me can do it, you can do it too. I'm just a normal person that had normal trauma, or what, it's sad, trauma can be normal, right? But I had similar traumas to many people, and a lot of stuff to work through, and a lot of negativity, and a lot of miserableness, and everything else. I never thought I would be where I am, everything in my life. So my boyfriend he just walked right out of my manifestation page. And again, I don't say this to brag, but he is just an absolute dream version of what I always wanted in a partner. And we've been together 7 years now, and it just gets better and better. And this again was something I never thought that I was deserving of or that I would ever have. And we just have built a beautiful life together so far. And this was something I used to just pine over, to have that person that treated me exactly how my heart desired to be treated. And don't settle for anything less once you realize what your heart wants. Okay, so that's something I never thought I could have. Another thing is I never thought I would own a house, let alone more than one, let alone a vacation home. Never did I think I would have a vacation home in one of my favorite places in the United States. We used to vacation there, in fact, at this resort. We have a condo at a resort in Durango, and we used to vacation there and just dream and take pictures and just come home and just dream that we could have that life. I always thought we were just dreaming. I wanted it, never thought it was going to be possible. So that's another thing. We bought a house here in Arizona a few years ago, and there's a lot of upgrades that I've been wanting to make on them. And now all of a sudden they're all happening. And you guys, a lot of this stuff isn't even coming out of my own pocket. Again, please know I am not bragging. I want you to know that it doesn't even require the money. I used to be obsessed with the money. And that was the only path that I believed I would get anything I wanted. If I didn't have the money, I was never going to have it. So we have to open up levels of possibility. That is so important. What is possible in our mind is what will manifest in our real life. And if we want more out of life, we have to allow more into our mind, okay? So I got the Dreamboat, I got the vacation home, I've got the house here. I've manifested business opportunities and contracting opportunities for amounts of money I never thought I would be earning. Never, okay? So all that to say, all of the major things in my life right now, a couple of years ago, were just a pipe dream. So I really want you all to understand what it took for me to then have these things in life. I had to give myself permission to have them. I had to open up my levels of possibility. And so one of the ways I started doing that was with reality writing. I grabbed a journal and I began writing my reality exactly how I wanted it to be. All right. So there was no words like, I'm not broke anymore. I'm not struggling anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. It was exactly how I want it to be. I am wealth. I am abundance. I am joy. I am this, whatever I wanted to be. I wrote it as if it already was. But again, let's take this way back, because some of you might be at the very beginning stages of learning about manifestation. And so what that looked like for me, 7+ years ago was first I stumbled upon things like Law of Attraction or The Secret. And those left me feeling super disappointed, because I think those teachings are great. I think they are valid. But I think it is not the whole foundation. And if you're not doing your mindset work, you're going to feel like you always have to maintain manifestation and you always have to be doing something to make it happen. Or we're counteracting. We really want this thing, but it's not possible in our mind. There's far too many conditions on it. But that's where my journey started, and it opened up my mind enough to lead me to other teachings and other concepts. And so I kind of just kept following the trail. And so it started with just writing these like surface level gratitude lists. And when I say surface level, it's because I was at a point in my life where I hated everything about my life. I hated everything about myself. And so it had to start that way. I didn't feel thankful or grateful for anything, being perfectly honest. But okay, what do I have? I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful. I have food in the cabinet. I'm grateful. I have a car to get to work. I have a job. I have, and I was starting to realize after doing that so long, it went from surface level to going a little bit deeper to where I actually started to feel the gratitude. I could feel it. And then from that, it turned into embodying gratitude. I didn't have to force it anymore. I saw through the perspective of gratitude. What I was seeing outside myself began to change from all these limits and all these points of misery and things that I just couldn't stand about my life to, wow, this is really beautiful. I actually have a lot of abundance that I did not ever see before, and I certainly didn't feel before. So it's just this journey, and from writing this gratitude and then learning to embody this gratitude, that is what kind of led to my whole reality writing. And so that started as list making. I always support journaling. I've done my shadow work off the backs of many journal prompts and workbooks and guides, and I love answering the questions. But when it comes to sitting down and Dear Diary type of journaling, that's just, I'm not going to do it. List making is for me. And so I would write lists like, I am in the best health of my life. I wake up feeling inspired. I have peace of mind. I have laughter in my home. I have romance, right? It was like making these lists, which was great. I did that for the last few years. That has now evolved into storytelling. I'm not making it as a list anymore. I'm going into the story of this thing, and that helps me tune into the frequency, and it helps me tune into what I really wanted from this thing in the first place. And when you manifest from your root desires, which I'll do a whole other podcast on diving deeper into that. But when you manifest from root desire rather than shadow desire, or, just a desire to get the F out of this situation, the root soul desire, your heart's desire, is such a powerful, amplified place to manifest from. But for me, it took shadow work. It took healing work. It took quantum healing. I did a ton of Akashic work. That was so my jam for healing. I healed on a quantum level and it was amazing. I still do it. I still guide it. I do guided shamanic and Akashic healings. Anyway, that was kind of my journey before I could really tune into the energy of the storytelling and the root desires. And so what I want to show you again today in this podcast is that it is a journey, and allow it to be. I have had so much flipping fun along the way. My mind has been blown. Every year it's like, wow, this was just a pipe dream and it's real. So anyways, this reality writing evolved into really telling the story of why I want it and how amazing it feels. And it's all as if it's already done. So I'm telling this story as if I'm really writing my memoir of the manifestation happening. And it's just so powerful in your manifestation. Spirit shows me that. I feel that energetically, and then I see it impact my outside world. So start with your surface level gratitude if that's where you're at. It's a beautiful place to start. And then take that deeper, learn what it's like to actually feel the gratitude, not just say it, but actually truly, genuinely feel it. I used to have to force myself. I definitely don't have to do that anymore. Okay. So open up your windows of possibility, especially in your reality writing. Why wouldn't you write your reality exactly how you want it to be in your own personal journal or wherever you're writing this? Why wouldn't you? You've got to leave room for possibility. If it's not possibility in your reality writing, then how can you ever expect it to be possible in your actual reality? And so go big here. And the one thing I do not do in my reality writing is I never, ever let myself go into how is this going to happen? Because again, I'm writing it from the future. It's already done, right? That's not what the reality writing journal is for. Don't go into that. You have to turn that off, at least for the time you're in your notebook. All right. So if it's like, I'm going to reality write for 10 minutes, let me put on some inspiring music. Let me get into sacred space, and I'm going to allow my full dream to come to light. The other piece to pay attention to is if it doesn't feel good, to think about your full desires. Because I was there for a long time. I could only let myself dream so far, because if it got too big, it felt so freaking out of my reach. And that made me miserable because my heart really wanted it. But then I denied myself that. And so you've got to turn the hows, and how is this possible? How am I going to get the money for this? You've got to turn that off, because remember, just a while ago in this podcast, I talked about how a lot of these manifestations didn't cost $1 out of my own pocket. I didn't even need the money to get a lot of what I wanted. And the other piece of that too is from my reality writing, I kept writing, I wanted the dream home. I wanted the dream home. And then when it was time to take that, what do you want from this? Take that deeper. That is not a root. That is definitely not a root desire. And what do you want from a dream home? And it turned into, when I really drilled down, what I was looking for in that moment was to wake up feeling inspired every day. And this doesn't mean I'm not going to have bad days, but I wanted just to not wake up in a weird mindset like I historically always have, and just to wake up feeling inspired. And I used to think that in order to be inspired, I had to have the most perfect, idyllic space in the most beautiful scenery ever, and 360 views of that perfect scenery. And then I will feel inspired. Do you see how limiting that is? When I found the root, I said, okay, let me just try to call that in now. What if I woke up tomorrow and felt inspired? And all of a sudden, you wouldn't believe, my morning wake-ups began to change. I'm not saying it's like that every day just yet. I'm coding right now. I've been recoding. I woke up in that weird mindset space for all of my years of life. I've got to do some recoding, but more and more, ever since that time, I wake up just automatically feeling inspired for the day. And that is so freeing. Guess what? I'm not in the dream home yet, but we're doing it. The manifestation has happened. It didn't cost money. I didn't have to move. I didn't have to wait. All right. And so another one I wanted to share is I do a lot. I take on a lot. I put a lot of things on my plate. I'm going a lot of different directions. One part of the day, I'm a corporate cleanup crew, and another part of the day, I'm a medium, and another part of the day, I'm energy healing, and then I'm manifestation coaching, and then home life, all of the things. So I can run around tired a lot, right? And feel like I don't get enough sleep. And I also do energy work in my sleep all the time. I travel and wander. So I wanted to just start feeling really energized. So I wrote that into my reality, and I wrote a little story about how it feels to wake up energized every day. And even though I had a really rough night sleep-wise, I have had really busy weeks the past few months, I woke up this morning feeling energized. So you see how fast it can happen when you get to that root desire. And so that's why I highly encourage, start with your gratitude list, start with tuning into the energy of gratitude and what you actually genuinely are grateful for. Start list making for what you want in your reality, and then take that a little deeper and start telling a little story about it. Listen, I felt just last night I did this, and I felt like I wrote an entire book. The energy that I felt, the frequency that I picked up on from the dream life that my next up level, it literally felt like I wrote a whole book. It probably took me under 10 minutes, and it was a page and a half in one of those smaller composition notebooks. So this doesn't have to take up all your time. Don't make it cumbersome. I don't want that. You don't want that. Make it so it's complimentary. You can do this in a few minutes a day. And if it feels overwhelming, just write about one thing you desire today. You want to wake up feeling energized? Write a little paragraph about that. And then add something in tomorrow. Let this be a layered thing. I have been layering my manifestation work for 7 years. And so let yourself do that layering. It doesn't have to take you 7 years. I love this journey. I want to stay on it. And again, like I said, what I'm living now is something that was only just a dream in my notebook a couple years ago. And so enjoy the journey. This takes that cliche saying, enjoy the journey. It takes that so much deeper, and you really embody presence through all of this too, if you let it take time. And if you open up the possibility that you can have the feelings you desire without your world actually having to change yet. What happens when you start to feel those feelings? You're in this whole different reality. The world starts changing around you, and you start getting those things that you wanted. And I'll tell you, I can feel the resistance from here. As an intuitive energy healer and reader and medium, I know what you're thinking. If somebody told me, well, just manifest the feeling you want. When I was deep in shadow and misery and limit, I wouldn't have believed that. I would have thought that, well, this person, their teaching is lame. This is not reality. So if you have resistance to some of this stuff, look at the resistance and dig into that first. All right. And that's what I did as well. I dug into my resistance to those things, and then I started trying them on. And for me, I'll try things on. If you know me, if you've heard me talk about manifestation, because I've been on this journey for over 7 years, I've tried all the things. The write out what you want 55 times. Not for me. That is not for me. That is so cumbersome. And if you are in shadow, it's going to make you feel like crap. Each time you write it, you're going to feel more and more the lack and not the feelings of what you desire, right? Because you just haven't done the dive yet. Maybe you haven't had those teachings or that outline or guidance. So you don't have to do things like that. You can really build your manifestation practice. Take the things that you're learning, take what resonates, do them how you want to do them, and it will be so powerful. But don't let your resistance to any of this this is very big possibility. that I've spent years opening up for myself. And so if it sounds ridiculous to you, I understand. I completely see you and get you and feel you. And I've been there. Even now, I still go there. I have a business coach who I've been watching her grow for the last few years. She's next level stuff. And sometimes she triggers the F out of me. But it's not her that's triggering me. I'm triggered because I've got resistance. My window of possibility is only open so far. And what I found for the last 3 years is when I then do my work to open up my possibility even more than it was before, then all of a sudden she's inspiring me, right? So it's okay if you have resistance, but I'd love for you to work through that and let yourself create a manifestation lifestyle. Again, if you know me, you hear me say almost daily that your thoughts and beliefs are creating your reality. You want a different reality, you've got to create different thoughts and beliefs. After 7 years, I know this to be true again and again and again and again and again. So I 100% back this. And I know that everybody can create more for themselves. And I am so passionate about getting that message across because of where I came from and where I am today and where I know I'm going in the future. And I just have to share. So I hope that this inspired you guys to sit down and do some of your own reality writing. If you want any more information at all about how I do this process, feel free to reach out. You can email me anytime at support@waywardwitchco.com. I am always happy to answer questions, and I can just talk about manifesting all day, which I've done today, and it was amazing. And again, keep it simple. You don't have to get it. Mine's just a cheapy little $1 composition notebook. It's nothing fancy. I don't spend hours doing it. I want these things to enhance and complement life, not feel like just more homework and chores. So manifest the way you want, but do consciously manifest, because otherwise your shadow is doing the manifesting, whether you like it or not, and whether you believe it or not. So I will leave you all with that, my friends. Reach out if I can support you in any way. And if you do want to take the work deeper, if you're ready to go to work, I have 2 amazing programs that would support a manifestation lifestyle. Program number 1 is Wayward Path Work. That is the space for you if you are called to any type of mysticism, any type of healer, if you are doing your own healing, if you are ready to embark on self-mastery and take your shadow work to whole other levels, then I recommend Wayward Path Work. We're also doing 4 weeks of manifestation right now, and all of that content is available for future listening inside the library. And if you're ready to really just expand mindset and be in a manifestation frequency all the time, then consider my Abundance Reset and Mastery Immersion program. We are re-enrolling in that space now. We are re-kicking it off. We are doing 4 weeks of manifestation there and then some. The work never stops there. And you sign up, either you have a pay in full option with a discount, or you have a 3-part payment plan. Once you're done, you are in there forever. And I am adding to that space all the time. You already have a huge manifestation vault to work with. And I just keep adding. Every time I up level, I'm bringing you with me. So you get lifetime access to the space that I'm continuing to build upon all the time. I also have one-on-one options. I have energy healings. I have readings. I will answer questions free in email or in the free Facebook group. Come on over. I'll link you guys to everything below. And I will see you guys on the next podcast. Happy manifesting.